So now what I want to do is to take you into the world of generative art. And we're going to use a free program, which is part of Bing, which is a Microsoft. So if you search Google and put Bing Create, and you sign up for this, it's free, then you will be able to create generative art. And generative art is AI that creates brand new artwork. It draws on a huge amount of data to create new images that you can use for your projects. Now, Bing is limited in the sense that it creates square images. Some of the other generative art programs can do wide angle and different shapes and things like that. But as you can see, it's incredibly powerful. And it's based on the same principle of prompts as what we've been talking about for creating words. So if I put in a very non-specific response, a prompt, and I say, I just want a soccer player, then it's going to think and it's going to look through its database. It's going to create a new image of a soccer player for me, but it's not very specific. And as you can see, it's a little bit biased. So it's created a male soccer player. It's created an adult soccer player. It's decided that red is a really good color for soccer players. So it's a non-specific response. So what about if I say well, hang on, I've just got to clean my sheet here. 12-year-old soccer player. So that's a little bit more specific, and it'll do that for me. And it only takes a few seconds, and it's going to create a 12-year-old soccer player. So in the toolkit, there are 7 different principles for creating generative art. Okay, it's again done that, but it's also a little bit biased. It's done a white-skinned Western soccer player. And as you can see, AI sometimes gets some things wrong. So the soccer ball's a little bit bigger than it probably should be, but it's not bad. It's creating a brand new image. So now I'm going to say a Kenyan 12-year-old soccer player. In fact, I'm going to say a Kenyan 12-year-old female soccer player and see what it can do. I'm going to be even more specific. So what you want to do is to describe with as much detail as possible what you want your image to look like. And so it's given me a Kenyan 12-year-old soccer player. But I'm going to now create a context, playing with other girls on an African field. All right, let's try that. So now I'm giving it a context, and it's going to give me a slightly better image, maybe closer to what I'm looking for. So the more detail you give it, the better your image starts to become. Okay. Oh, wow, look at that. So now it's given me an image that's going to be closer. I'll just shrink this a little bit so we can see this all the time. A little bit closer to what I'm looking like. How about if I start to give it even more of a context or more detail? So I'm going to say, at the moment it's giving me a photograph. So I'm going to say an illustration in ink and watercolor. So now I'm being even more specific. I'm saying what it is I'm looking for, but I'm starting to give it a little bit more detail of the kind of image that I'm looking for. And I'll go into this in even more detail in a moment. So now it's given me a great image, but it's done as an illustration. So that's a great thing. Now, there's no limit to what you can do. I'll start again, and I'm going to say I'm going to play with something fun, a talking cardboard box in a street give me a city, let's say San Salvador, because we've got El Salvador here, with golden light from the left. So now it's going to create a very specific image of something that probably doesn't exist and never has. Let's see what it can come up with. Oh, there you go. So it's a cardboard box with a face on it in a street that might be somewhat familiar in El Salvador. Who knows? So describe the image that you want. And it could be of a person, or it could be even a landscape. So I could say a Pacific island.
Alan, does it look familiar?
Beach. So with palm trees. So you don't have to do people. You can do landscapes or a background or something else. So there's no limit to what you can ask for. And it's quite extraordinary what it can come up with. So here's a landscape. I can create that. So it's not a person. But if I go back to my other prompt, a Kenyan 12-year-old female player, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to make it, I'm going to add a mood to this in a happy mood. And mood is a really good way of starting to get images that are close to what you're looking for. And I've only discovered this a bit more recently. I've tried to describe facial expressions. I've tried to give a lot of detail that way, but mood is something that seems to be quite well understood by AI. So there you go, happy mood. What about if I said in a grumpy mood after losing the game? So I'm describing the vibe of the game, and the mood makes a very big difference to it. So that's another little skill that you've got. Well, another principle. Oh, I didn't like that one. Some reason it sometimes thinks that I'm asking for something bad. I'll say sad mood, so if that helps me. It's all very new technology, so you'll find that there are some bugs, and so it doesn't like that either. I'm going to say it may be because it's searching and it finds things that are bad images, and then it starts to go down a bad path, not because of what I've asked for, but okay, there you go. So a 12-year-old boy playing soccer in a sad mood, it's created something like that. So that's the mood. And I can add all sorts of things like, jumping in the air. And then you add the third principle, which is the style of what you're looking for. So what if I'll go back to happy mood just to keep us joyful. And he didn't lose the game, but I'm going to add a style, and I'm going to say 3D animated style. And let's see. So now it's going to give me an image that's not a photograph, but it's going to look a little bit like something out of a movie, like a Pixar movie or a DreamWorks. Oh, there you go. So it's given me a very different feel to it, but it might be a really good way. Or I could say, instead of that, I'm going to say paper cutout art. I really like this style where I'm going to have the whole image, but I'm making it out of paper. And that's quite a nice way of creating something new. So that's another possibility. So let's see how it does with that. Oh, look at that. Awesome. What about if I say made of jelly? So you can do some quite crazy things as you are designing this. And when you're describing the style, you could do a Google search for different artistic styles and add a style in. Okay, it didn't cope with that. That's all right. So it's added jelly into the image, but it hasn't turned the boy into jelly, but that's all right. It's probably because the context is too specific. It's made it too difficult. So now I'm going to just create the boy in a happy mood made of jelly and see if it can cope with that. So you play. And in fact, AI tends to make you even more creative because you come up with all these crazy ideas that, oh, there you go. There's my Kenyan soccer player boy made of jelly. So that's very cool. Let's do one last one, made of sand, and see what it can do. So describing the style is really helpful. I could also then, I'll give this a bit of a go. Let's put it into an artistic style. There you go. There's a boy made of sand. I'm going to say classic oil painting. Kenyan Escape. So now I'm going to end up with something that's probably a bit of a sort of a European classic painting of an African scene. Who knows what it's going to come up with? Oh, it didn't. Okay. It's not too bad. So I'm going to say Rembrandt. I don't even know how to spell his name. So now it's given me an oil painting. Let's see if it can give me a super classic oil painting. What is that going to give me? Okay, it hasn't coped so well with that, but it gives you an idea. What about if I take all of that out and I'm going to say abstract painting? So this is something a little, in fact, I'm going to put this Picasso style. So at the moment, it's totally okay to use these things. In the future, it might become copyright issues about using certain artist styles, but it's a very fast developing area. So there you go. That's given me a more abstract look, which is beautiful. So you can describe the style, you can describe the framing, which is like, do you want it close up or wide angle? You can describe the lighting. So I'm going to now take that out and I'm going to say warm golden light, if I could spell. So what that's going to do is going to give me a photograph probably, because I haven't been specific, but it's going to give me a sort of afternoon light of our African soccer player. What's happening? It's died on me. Why is it not doing that? Have I dropped out?
No, you haven't dropped out, but we do only have 9 minutes left.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to, I don't know what's happened there. It's
Yeah. You've done great though. It's so exciting seeing this playfulness. And what you may not see, Simon, are all the comments. People are really enjoying the kids from Kenya. Carlita was saying that San Salvador looked familiar. And so, you know, if you're going to pick a city name or a country name, it obviously it picks up on things that people feel very familiar with.
So, yeah, and if you go to I encourage you to have a play. It's great fun. The other one I wanted to show you was creating a logo. So what you could do, you don't have to just create images. You could say, I want to create a flat a logo of a sports organization that plays cricket. I want a logo that's blue and orange and green, and I want it in flat line art. So you could say as specific as that, and you'll come up with some really interesting ideas. And a little bit like how I did the text chat, you can then add to it and say, okay, actually, I don't like the blue. Give me some ideas, but I'm going to have these different colors, or give it to me square. So it's the same. You can build on and keep playing, describe the color, So all of that is in your toolkit with a whole stack of ideas to try. And it's really fun to just experiment. And to download it, you just click on the image and with right click and save as, and that's your image that you've downloaded. So it's very simple to use. And then you can add that to your